Good morning, students. Welcome back to my class. I hope you all are doing good. Let's start our chapter 1 in political science. Let me recall the last session, that is part 1. The chapter 1 is the Indian Constitution, part 1. In the last session, we learned about what is constitution and why does a country need a constitution. Today we are going to learn about what we are going to learn. We are going to learn about key features. The Indian Constitution's key features we are going to learn. What are the key features of Indian Constitution? Children, we know that India is ruled by British for 100 years. They have ruled us for 100 years. So when people started fighting for freedom, struggling, so many Indian national movements were happened, and it was very struggle for get the independence from British rule. For several decades, they have given decades, but it was more than 100 years. During the freedom struggle, the nationalists had devoted a great deal of time to imagine and planning what a free India would be like. Before getting the freedom, our leaders are started planning for after when we get freedom, what are the plannings we have to do. So they were discussing. So under the British, they had been forced to obey rules that they had very little role in making. So when we are under the British rule, it was very horrible, and they are the person which badly treated the Indians. Indians that are free India should be democracy in which everyone should be treated equally and be allowed to participate in government. In British rules and all, they won't allow Indians to participate when the Britishers are ruling in India. But the leaders have planned to participate. Even the people should be treated equally, and they have to participate the government. So this was done by not only by one person. This constitution or the discussing everything not done by one person. A group of around 300 people who became members of the Constituent Assembly in 1946. When the year of 1946, group of 300 people made members, and they have the constitution, who met periodically for the next 3 years. The group made on the 1946, and the next 3 years they have written the constitution periodically. Now let's see. These members of the Constituent Assembly had a huge task before them. To prepare the constitution, to write the constitution, there was a big task to them. That is, we all already know, in our country we can see different languages speaking person, different cultures and different religions. So this was very difficult to frame the constitution when the beginning. And also there was a one concern, that is the partition of the India and Pakistan also. And princely states remained undecided about their future. Princely states also, they rose to the occasion and gave this country a visionary document that reflects our respect for maintaining diversity while preserving national unity. So the members of Constitution of Assembly, they have to keep in mind all these things, that unity should not break, because in our country there is a different religions, language speaking persons, and cultures also different, and different. So they are keeping in mind very carefully, and they framed the constitution. The final documents also reflects their concern for eradicating poverty, and there is also poverty in India. So they have to keep in mind about poverty also. So look at this image. He is Baba Saheb Dr. Ambedkar. Who's he? Baba Saheb Dr. Ambedkar is known as the father of the Indian Constitution. Ambedkar believed that his participation in the Constituent Assembly helped the scheduled castes get some safeguards in the draft constitution. But he also stated that although the laws might exist, scheduled castes still had reason to fear because the administration of these laws were in the hands of caste Hindu officers. Therefore urged scheduled caste to join the government as well as the civil services. He is the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, is the father of Indian Constitution. Now let's see the key features of Indian Constitution. So while we are reading this, they have concern of diversity, that is the differentiate, and unity, they have to stay unit. Socio-economic, that is the conditions of the economical conditions of the people. Reform and representation, that the authors of this document were grappling with. Try and understand the ways in which to balance these concerns with a commitment. So while preparing the while writing the Indian Constitution, there are diversity, unity, social economic reform and representation the authors kept in their mind. Now let's see India into a strong democratic, how they have created. The first one is the key features of Indian Constitution. First one is federalism. What is the first one? Federalism. Federalism is a system of government in which the same territory is controlled by two levels of government. Generally, an overarching national government is responsible for border of government. The division of power between the national and state government on the broad map. It helps manage conflict, permitting states and communities to pursue their own policies, reduce the pressures that would build up. What is federalism? It refers to the existence of more than one level of government in the country. If there is only one level of government, that is central government, means only sitting in the Delhi central government cannot manage all other states. No, so to reduce this burden, so there is they have created two. One is state government and other one is they divided state government and central government. In India, we have governments at state level and at the center level. Panchayati Raj is the third tier of government, and you have read about in class 6 also about Panchayati. The third type of government is Panchayati Raj. In the local level, we do in our place, no, that is called Panchayat based. We looked at the functioning of the state government in the class 7 itself. The vast number of communities in India meant that a system of government needed to be devised that did not involve only person sitting in the capital city of New Delhi and making decisions for everyone. I already said here before that sitting in the central government in Delhi and it cannot manage all other states. So there were three types. One is central government, the second one is state government, and the last one is Panchayati Raj. Now let's see parliamentary form of government. Let's see what is parliamentary government. It is democratic form of government. Parliamentary government is the democratic government in which the party with the greatest representation in the parliament forms the government. Its leader become prime ministers. In the parliament government, they become ministers. Constitution of India guarantees universal adult suffrage for all citizens. Universal adult suffrage, that means after the age of 18, at the age of 18, everyone have the right to vote. When they were making the constitution, the members of the Constituent Assembly felt that the freedom struggle had prepared the masses for universal adult suffrage. Universal adult suffrage. That is would help encourage a democratic mindset and break the clutches of traditional caste, class and gender hierarchies. Before the independent India and after few years of independent India, they were voting system only for the rich person, and the casteism, genderism, everything was there in India. Because of that, only few can, those who are rich person or educated, they only will vote and they will elect their representative. But when the adult franchise has introduced by the constitute, then everyone, citizen of India, everyone have, after the age of 18, they are able to vote. This means that the people of India have a direct role in electing their representatives. Also, every citizen of country, irrespective of his or social background, can also contest in elections. If you want to contest in election, there is no qualification, there is no restriction for us. Anyone can elect. These representatives are accountable to the people. You will read more in the next chapter. Now let's see the separation of powers. Now what we are going to read? Separations of powers. Separation of power is a representation for the governance of a state. Under this model, a state government is delivered into branches. So what is the state government is delivered into branches? They are known as legislature, the executive and the judiciary. What are the three organs of government? That is the legislature, the executive and the judiciary. The legislature refers to our elected representatives. The executive is a smaller group of people who are responsible for implementing laws and running the government. The judiciary is, which you will read in the unit 3 of this book, refers to the system of courts in this country. Judiciary means system of courts. The legislative is the elected representatives. Executive is the small group of people responsible for implementing laws and running the government. The judiciary is the judiciary refers to the system of courts in the country. Now let's see about fundamental rights. So let's see what is fundamental rights. As citizens of India, we have rights that allow us to freedom of speech, freedom of choosing religion, freedom of assembly. The feature to these rights is that they cannot be taken away from us. They are clearly stated in the law. So let's see. The section on fundamental rights has often been referred to as the conscience of the Indian Constitution. So the various minority communities also expressed the need for the Constitution to include rights that would protect their groups. Therefore, guarantees the rights of minorities against the majority. As Ambedkar has said about these fundamental rights, their object is twofold. Objective is that every citizen must be in a position to claim those rights. Second one is rights must be binding upon every authority that has got the power to make laws. If a 13-year-old child is working in a factory manufacturing carpets, what fundamental right is that? If a politician, there are 6 fundamental rights are given here. Read out that. What are that? Right to equality. So in the society, all persons are equal before the law. This means that all persons shall be equally protected by the law of the country. The second one is right to freedom. What are the fundamental rights in that? Second one is right to freedom. This includes the right to freedom of speech and expression. You can say your feelings freely to others and you have the rights to speak. The third one is right against exploitation. The Constitution prohibits human trafficking, forced labor or employment of children under 14 years of age. So this is the answer. If a 13-year-old child is working in a factory, what right is that? Right against exploitation. So that is the age of schooling. So you are not supposed to work in the factory or wherever. So that what right is applicable here? Right to freedom of religion. The next one, fifth one is cultural and educational right. What is the next one? Cultural and educational rights. The Constitution states that all minorities, religious or linguistic, can set up their own educational institution in order to preserve and develop their own culture. Right to constitutional remedies. Citizens to move the court if they believe that any of their fundamental rights have been violated by the state. If all these rules violated by the state, they can move. So they have the right to constitutional remedies. Now we'll read about secularism. What is secularism? Secularism is a belief system that rejects religion, or the belief that religion should not be part of the affairs of the state or part of public education. So no religions-based separation. Secularism in India means a state that supports or participates in a neutral manner in the affairs of all religious groups. A secular state is one in which the state does not officially promote any one religion as the state religion. We will read more about this in the following chapter. Okay, so in India there are a number of religions like Hinduism, Christianity, Muslim, Jainism, Sikhism, Buddhism, etc. we can see in our country. So based on the religion, they should not promote any religion officially. The different features of Indian Constitution outlined above involve complicated ideas that are often not easy to grasp. So okay children, we came to an end of lesson. Let me explain the worksheet. The first question, explain federalism and fundamental rights. You have to explain means you have to write about more than 10 sentences about federalism and fundamental right. Okay, the next one is look at the political map of India carefully and answer the followings. So you have to look at this map. If the map is not visible in the worksheet, you can open your book and also you can find out. So write down the names of Indian states which shares borders with the following neighboring nations. So there are three nations I have given. One is Bangladesh, the second one is Bhutan, and the last one is Nepal. By looking at the map, which are the states they are bordering? So let me explain about Bangladesh. So Bangladesh is bordering with West Bengal, Bihar. So like this you have to find out what states they are, what are the Indian states bordering these countries. Okay, once you're done with the homework, send it to the WhatsApp group class 8 social science naps between 6 to 8 in the evening. Bye children, take care.